Good morning. Welcome to a Friday Eve. It's Thursday, December 5th at 7:54 in the morning here in frigid western Iowa. Here are your hazards for today. Yeah, freeze watches for Florida and southern Georgia. And then up the East Coast, it's wind warnings, winds advisories, and also snow with winter storm warnings and winter weather advisories. And along the Great Lakes, Lake Michigan, Lake Superior, winter storm warnings with some winter weather advisories around those. Otherwise, it's fog for Texas, California, Oregon, Idaho, near the Puget Sound in Washington, northern Montana, but also a high wind watch up there in the northern Rockies. All right, here's our weather spotlight. This is where I live, Harlan, Iowa. Now, the airport's, I don't know, 5 miles south of town, something like that. 7 degrees this morning at 7:15, with a north wind at 14, making it feel like 10, or as we say in Texas, 10. It's 2 syllables. Today's high 21. But look at that warm up tomorrow after, 13 to start. But Friday, upper 30s. Saturday, upper 40s. Sunday, low 50s. So definitely a warm up for most coming this weekend. The rest of the country right now, yeah, single digits, negative temperatures, South Dakota, North Dakota, Minnesota, Iowa. You start getting into the teens in Nebraska, single digits for Illinois. Teens in Indiana, single digits into parts of Wisconsin, transitioning to teens and 20s as you get into the Great Lakes, and then a few 30s along the East Coast. But teens for Kentucky. Much warmer this morning, however, in the southeast, and it's cold through the Intermountain West this morning as well. You throw in the wind, and you see that cold expand, negative wind chills all the way from northern Missouri, Indiana, Illinois, here in Iowa, parts of Wisconsin, Minnesota, South Dakota, North Dakota. So it's cold out there. But our 24-hour temperature change shows you exactly how much colder it is where and how much warmer, because the southeast is quite a bit warmer this morning, even into the mid-Atlantic and East Coast, and then much cooler with that center of that cold high pressure dropping out of Canada, basically over South Dakota right now, with a 38-degree cooler difference there in northeastern South Dakota. So that's where the cold, where it's gotten colder dramatically with that cold front yesterday, and where it's dramatically warmer. Rain and snow in the last 6 hours. Louisiana with some nice rains. I don't know if you need it, but nice rains, I guess. And then you get up into the Great Lakes and Northeast. That's mostly snow, some rain along the East Coast, like coastal areas. Highs today, not rebounding a whole lot here in the Midwest, Great Lakes, Northern Plains, with highs in the teens and 20s. But, 40s for Kentucky, Tennessee, Arkansas, 50s Southeast, and warmer 60s and 70s for Florida, mostly 50s and 60s for Texas, although extreme South Texas around 70 or so. We see a couple 70s there in the desert Southwest too. And for anomalous temperatures, as far as above and below average, that's much below average. Kentucky, Tennessee, into the Ohio Valley and up through the Midwest and Northern Plains. And it's above average, especially for the Northern Rockies. Surface today looking like this. There's that cold front with that plains low, that Canadian low sitting over the Dakotas, that cold air banked against the Rockies and kind of heading south towards the southeast. Now along that first front is where we see our showers, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama today. And then there's your snow for the Great Lakes and for the Northeast. Lows tomorrow morning, not as cold, but cold for the Midwest and the Great Lakes and the East. Colder for the Tennessee Valley into the Southeast, with temperatures near freezing all the way down to the Gulf Coast in Mississippi, for example. So it's going to be a cold start again for the Southeast. And cold in the Intermountain West, too. I mean, you have to go all the way into South Texas and, Houston to get away from the freezing temperatures, or the 30s, I should say. Florida, not bad, 50s and 60s, and same with the desert Southwest. But otherwise, the whole nation pretty chilly to start the day tomorrow. But highs will start to rebound above freezing in Iowa, and even warmer than that further west in the plains. And as you get into the Great Lakes, still hanging on to those freezing temperatures, warming up in the desert Southwest with more 70s here, more 70s in Florida, 40s and 50s for Texas, except for South Texas. Anomalous temperatures tomorrow, still below average for Texas into the southeast, up the East Coast and the Great Lakes, still warmer than average for the central and northern plains and west. Tomorrow's surface shows those scattered showers and storms mainly in Texas, back into New Mexico, even parts of Arizona. Could mix with some snow, New Mexico, Arizona. Next storm system moving onshore, Pacific Northwest, with rain and snow, maybe even freezing rain. And we're hanging on to some snow in the Great Lakes, heavy for the eastern Great Lakes. For the next 2 days of precipitation, we're looking mostly at Texas, and then, parts of southeastern Louisiana, southern Mississippi, Alabama, a little bit of New Mexico too. And then up in the northeast, it's going to fall mostly as snow, Great Lakes northeast, and our new storm system moving into the Pacific Northwest. So this is your 2 days of precipitation ending Saturday morning at 7 a.m. And here's where it'll be snow. That's mostly rain in the Pacific Northwest, mostly snow for the Great Lakes and the east. Saturday, as we're getting into the weekend forecast, more rain for Texas and the southeast, a little bit of snow for the Great Lakes, although heavier in the eastern Great Lakes. And our Pacific storm making eastward progress, more rain and snow moving into Idaho, Montana, even some freezing rain for eastern Washington, perhaps heavy snow for the Washington Cascades. Highs on Saturday, warming up in the plains, hanging on to the cool weather in the northeast, and then otherwise it's generally warmer. Now, anomalous temperatures, we're still hanging on to below average temperatures for parts of Texas into the east, but it's barely below average for the East Coast, where it was much below average, say for today and tomorrow. Much above average for the plains and the west. Now, Sunday, we start to see things cooling off in the northwest, and that's going to be more dramatic next week. But by Sunday, pretty much everybody evened out to normal or above average, just a small pocket in the southeast of barely below average. Those highs on Sundays, 60s in Kansas and parts of Nebraska, 50s here in Iowa, bummer. I know, it's going to be a nice weekend for people who like warmer weather, which is most everyone. And pretty warm along the Gulf Coast and for Florida, and starting to cool off there again in the Pacific Northwest. And we'll show you that here as we go to the GFS. We're starting out this morning. Here's your snow off of the Great Lakes. Here's our low that dropped that Canadian high pressure southward behind it. So this is all cold air rushing in behind this low and blowing across the lakes, lake effect snow. Here's our rain for Louisiana moving into Mississippi and Alabama. And as we go through time, that low spins out of the picture here in the northeast, but still windy and cold northeast. Cold air. This is the high, the center of the cold air sinking right over my head. So highs today only in the 20s, but then we're going to start to see the warmth invade from west to east over time. So as we get into this evening, still cold here, but starting to warm up Friday. We're starting to see more rain into Texas, a little bit of lingering lake effect snow in the Great Lakes, and our next blob of moisture moving in to Washington as we get into Saturday now. Some more snow for the Great Lakes and to the scattered across the northeast. A little bit of rain in Texas. And then as we get into Sunday, we still see this. Watch this. This is going to increase and move towards the Great Lakes. We're seeing a cold front now moving into the northwest. And so it's going to get colder, freezing levels dropping, and scattered snow showers for even the lower elevations for parts of Idaho for example, moving into Wyoming and Nebraska and Montana. Meanwhile, this area of rain is moving far north, and this is going to be some rain on top of that snow in the eastern Great Lakes and the Northeast. It looks mostly on the light side. The heavier rain staying in the southeast. Meanwhile, our snow is dropping to the south here into Colorado by Monday night. And then into Tuesday, dropping even further south into northeastern New Mexico. Meanwhile, the heaviest rain in the southeast. And we see that snow falling all the way towards Fort Sumner in New Mexico. Will it get down to Roswell? Maybe. Will there be light snow in Lubbock? Maybe. This is Tuesday afternoon. Our rain changing to snow for parts of Indiana into Michigan as we get into Tuesday of next week. Rain out ahead of that. And so where this low is, on the western side, snow, eastern side, rain, on top of all the snow, cold air dipping all the way into central Texas, and some light snow up here in the northern plains. This is getting us into Wednesday morning now, and then Wednesday afternoon, you see a line of heavy showers moving through the southeast, lining up all along the coast, and then moving offshore with a little bit of light snow on the backside as we get into Wednesday night and Thursday morning. Another shot of cooler air here in the Midwest, northern plains, and also for the Great Lakes, and that moves east. Now this cold air is not making it too far south, maybe into Kentucky, but not all the way into the southeast this time. And as let's kind of round out next week, Thursday, we see some light snow across the upper Midwest, moving into the Great Lakes. Look at this powerful storm for the Pacific Northwest. A 981 low, lots of wind, lots of rain, lots of snow in the higher elevations. This could do some damage, some trees blowing over and things like that, power outages. So watch out Friday for a big storm for the Pacific Northwest moving onshore in Oregon and spreading rain and snow into the Northwest. And then we see another area of big showers. East Texas, this is next weekend. So we're getting pretty far out, but this kind of just shows you the trends as we go through time. All right, let's go through the week's temperatures real quick and just show you the trends on our temperatures for Monday, Tuesday, getting cooler in the plains. Wednesday, even cooler upper Midwest, hanging on to the warmth southeast. Thursday, moderating warmth in the south and cold in the north. Friday, revenge of the warmth as it spreads northward into the plains. Saturday, even warmer in the plains, getting colder in the west. And Sunday, you see the pattern now. We're seeing dips in the west with a bulge of high pressure in the east. So cooler west and warmer east. 8 to 14 day temperatures going even beyond next week. December 12th through 18th shows the whole country with above average temperatures of the best possibility. Same for most of Alaska and Hawaii. Precipitation-wise, Alaska above, Hawaii above, Great Lakes above, and the Pacific Northwest especially above. All right, that's a quick look at your forecast. Really appreciate you being here. We'll do it again tomorrow. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow here on the Weather Mic. I need to figure out a better ending. I'm working on it. All right, have a good one.